The first topic we wanted to discuss was Kamala Harris has announced some semblance of a crypto policy in the last week. I've asked ChatGPT here to summarize some of the key points, and at least it believes there's kind of three or four key pillars to this framework that she's announced. They want to do consumer protections, a clear regulatory framework that specifies shields for consumers from fraud and market instability. She wants to have a clear regulatory framework, clear and consistent rules that govern the crypto industry, which involved a defined legal structure of crypto businesses, clear guidance on compliance. It's likely to be enforced by the SEC. And she's also been talking to some of the top crypto firms. Imagine that: Coinbase, Circle, Ripple, and so on. So this is obviously, super good news. By way of context, I think Trump has been perceived as the crypto-friendly candidate because he's made a bunch of crypto-friendly comments, and for whatever reason,
She's adopting his policies.
well, she's at least being forced to clarify her stance, right? Because she's getting tagged with being ambiguous at best or hostile at worst to crypto. Of course, my Bitcoin jumped, $3,000-4,000 a
That's good
coin
news.
on the news. Yes, so full disclosure, I have holdings of crypto and Bitcoin specifically. What do you make of this, Ray? What do you make of the kind of the Trump is friendly, Harris is not narrative? What do you make of the new Harris comments and framework? And what do you think about the long-term prospects for Bitcoin and crypto in this next political cycle in general?
Yeah, I haven't read the entire framework that she put out, but I just find it very interesting how we went in a matter of years from the whole space being seen as some sort of, scam space, bubble, whatever it is. And it was everyone in the government and in politics was trying to kill it because it was, threatening a lot of things that are close to government, to now where, on the opposite side completely, where you have presidential candidates coming up with frameworks and policies and trying to be as close as possible to the crypto crowd. And I think, Trump was probably smart to pioneer that and win over, a large audience that cares about the subject and about the future of the space. And Canvas is kind of adopting whatever seems to have worked in some way before it's too late, and try to win over some of these votes. So that's on one hand. I don't know if you also seen the recent documentary that HBO released,
Yeah.
but they also talk about the government sort of, trying to centralize the crypto or its own kind of currencies through their own digital currencies. So it's a sort of way to even do the exact opposite of what crypto and digital currencies were supposed to do, and make things more centralized, more trackable and trackable by the government. So yeah, it's really interesting how things have shifted. Definitely overall, I think a candidate that comes through will need to put clearer frameworks. And I lived in Dubai for about 12 years, and Dubai was one of the first governments around the world to actually put in frameworks and policies in place for crypto and regulating the industry. Both in that, when it comes to crypto and AI as well. You had the first minister of AI globally in the world. So it's easier to do that in such a market because it's quicker to take decisions and to change laws. But it's definitely bound to happen. Regulation, some sort of regulation is important in such a space and in AI as well. But sometimes regulation could lead to over regulation and then control, which defeats the whole purpose.
Let's talk about blockchain and crypto more broadly, and then talk about some of this more specific stuff. So the initial intention of some of the early Bitcoin people was to unbundle money from governments and sovereign power, right? It was to have this independent, purely digital, truly scarce store of value. And yeah, it's very much gone a slightly different way, I think, right? Or really a significantly different way. It's been mainstreamed. It's been enmeshed in society and financial systems. And I think, as you're saying, now presidential candidates need to address it as one of the key pillars of their policy frameworks. I think it's safe to say now, and from my money, it was safe to say, years ago, it's here to stay. Bitcoin especially is here to stay. I was saying many, many years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I think blockchain as a technology is 100% here to stay in one form or another. there is a number of applications where blockchain is just a fundamental breakthrough in decentralized cryptographic trust. Bitcoin, if blockchain is 100% here to stay, Bitcoin is, let's say, 90% here to stay at the time. Now, maybe 99% here to stay. It is, I think, the primary purely digital store of value that is not tethered to governments, to threat of force, to gold, to any other underlying asset. And I think it's really exciting. And then the other cryptocurrencies, mostly are pure speculation on top of speculation on top of speculation. And so, I'm very excited. I should also address Ethereum, which is itself very different than Bitcoin, but as a generalized application layer powered on blockchain, is certainly here to stay as well. So yeah, it's really, I think, a very good signal to investors, to the retirement funds, to capital allocators that if you don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% of your portfolio in crypto, you're in trouble. One last very quick point on what you said, and I'd love for you to actually respond to this. You said Dubai was the first to have ministers lined up against AI and crypto. I've been to Dubai a number of times now. I've spent a little bit of time there. You've spent a lot of time there. Speaking of different perspectives, I think Dubai is a place that people miss. If they're in Silicon Valley, they're in Europe, they're in Australia. I think it's very easy to not quite grok how cool, how exciting, how interesting Dubai is. You have everything there, from beaches to ski slopes, indoor ski slopes, and they're all the biggest indoor ski slope,
Big is everything.
the
Yeah.
biggest, the biggest aquarium, the biggest water park, the biggest building, right? Maybe just like one or two words on, they call it the startup city on Dubai. What are people missing there? And how does this kind of first mover on crypto and on AI, how is that part of that story?
Yeah, I think the advantage of that Dubai plays that they found a way to run the country or the city specifically. So, Dubai is a federal system like the US. So you have the UAE and then you have the governments of the Emirates, which is, Dubai is one of them. But they really managed to run it like a startup essentially. And you have the leadership in the country acts like, the CEO and then they really formed a very efficient way of operating an economy and a city and a country. So that really helped in accelerating things and making things move really fast when it comes to putting law in place, putting different regulations, making the city friendly for people from all over the world to come in and do business. So it really became a hub, and because of its geographic location, it became a hub for people from a lot of different industries and different countries around the world to come in and do business. And they made it easy for people to move there. So, I mean, someone like myself who was initially in Lebanon, and like many Lebanese, I think it's about like 300 to 400,000 in the Emirates that came, for opportunity. It's kind of seen as the land of opportunity. But at the same time, you've got people from Australia, from the UK, from other places that went there and never left. So they didn't really come from, countries that are less fortunate. They came from countries that are pretty big countries, but they found it to be, for example, in versus Europe, where things are becoming very bureaucratic and people are getting very frustrated from the bureaucracy that's around and things being very slow and sometimes things being very anti-startup, anti-founder in one way or the other when it comes to taxation and the incentives that are a system that's built around. So, anyways, that's a whole different topic. But yeah, I think Dubai overall really built a unique model in the world where it's become a hub. At the end of the day, it's a city and it's not that big of a city, in comparison to other cities and bigger countries around the world. But it's really playing a very unique role in the region and globally to act as a point of connection between East and West and markets. And they go very, one of the really good things that Dubai goes and the UAE as a whole moves very fast and goes very aggressively into things that contribute to the future or our future technologies. So they did that with blockchain and crypto. They're doing that now with AI in a big way. So AI has been a big focus for Dubai and the UAE for a while. So not just when it comes to regulation, but also investments. So there is the Falcon language learning model that's out of Abu Dhabi that sits under a team called G42. But also they've made significant investments through their sovereign wealth funds and AI scale ups around the world. and purchasing a lot of GPUs as well. So getting their own
Mhm.
shares of GPUs.
For sure. And you're doing a conference there soon, right? We're all gonna go over there with you. So when's that? Just quickly, let's put a plug in for that.
Yeah, that's in February, February 19 and 20th. So we're actually, yeah, like I said, we're planning a delegation from the Bay Area to Dubai to go not just for the conference, but an entire week with an itinerary, both, business and some fun stuff to do as well. And it's really going to be about the group flying together. So about 30 to 40 selected founders and investors that will fly together on the same plane, on the Emirates plane
Very cool.
from SFO to DXB and spend the week in Dubai where there's going to be dinners, different activities, and things planned for the group. So I'm really excited about that.
You might be able to hang out with me and Ray there as well. So make sure you follow up with Ray about that. All right, that's our thoughts about Bitcoin, about Kamala, and about the rise and the importance of Dubai in the Middle East and globally. What do you guys think? Is this crypto stuff really still a bunch of hype? Are Trump or Kamala ultimately going to be better for the Bitcoin community? And what do you think about Dubai and Dubai's rise in technology? Their positioning as the startup city and the startup ecosystem. Is that real or is it a little bit of innovation theater? Jump in the comments, leave your thoughts, and we'll join you down there.